Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining me again, those who are returning. And for the newcomers, I welcome you and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share this wonderful experience with you. There's a movement going on now, and I've caught that spirit, and it's touched me deeply and caused me to do what I'm doing. I'm Eric Smith. Your host, and I'm the founder of this station that's entitled I Want to Breathe. I Want to Breathe came about as a result of Mr. Floyd's death at the hands of a police officer. And it's truly amazing how that death has brought life unto so many other things, such as this station that I'm now speaking on. I Want to Breathe. I've created a song, and it's on the YouTube as well. You can listen to it, and I'll be singing it again some other time. But I'm very happy to be here with you again to share with you on today. I'm a disabled veteran business owner of a Caring Painters of Full Service Painting, and we service Southern California, San Diego, also the state of Tennessee, and Atlanta, Georgia. In addition, I'm an author of a book entitled From Crack to Clergy, and we'll be dealing with that, and as we deal with some real life issues, current issues that's in the book that directly related to the climate in which we're living in now and things that we're dealing with. And lastly, I'm very proudly to say that I founded a nonprofit organization in honor of my parents, both of whom could neither read or write. They were sharecroppers. And the name of it is Reading Changes Lives Incorporated. It's a reading program. You know, research shows that many of our students or kids today in high school or even graduated are reading below the standard reading level. In fact, many of them in high school are reading at the 4th and 5th grade level of reading. So it's a much needed cause, and I'm looking forward to getting the resources, the backing that we may be able to go forth and to help the children. Amen. So again, I want to thank you for joining in with me. We're going to look at some issues today that's a little bit different from, has a different twist to it. Initially, from my book, From Crack to Clergy, Provoking Thoughts, we were dealing with the religious side of the house. There are many writings that were Bible-based about love them and about giving to others and telling the truth and why can't we tell it and how to love and that type of thing. But today we're going to look at something differently. And I find that when we look at things in a sincere way, without any biases, we get better results. And it was during the cleansing time of my pulling off of drugs that enabled me to begin to write things. I didn't know what I was writing at the time, but in my book, From Crack to Clergy, Provoking Thoughts, you'll find, and let me show you a picture of the book here, From Crack to Clergy, Provoking Thoughts. Provoking Thoughts. In it, we're going to look at several things, but the point that I want to make to you here is that writing, what I began to write, came when I departed from using drugs. When I decided, when I made up my mind, and with the help of the Creator guiding me, then my eyes began to open, my ears began to open, I began to see more clearly, see differently, I began to hear things different. I was listening to a different drum major, a different shepherd, if you will. And that's when I began to pen these things. And it's very important that we are able to see clearly and able to hear clearly, and then able to understand what it is that we're looking at. It does me no good or you no good to look at something if you don't know what you're looking at. And likewise, listening and you hear something, a sound, a noise, but you're unable to interpret accurately what it is. So it's important that we know what we're looking at and that we're looking at the right thing. In fact, so much so, there is a young man that you might know by the name of Aristotle as it relates to philosophy. He tells us that out of all the senses that we have, the five senses that we have, that the one most dominant and most powerful is that sense of sight. In fact, he goes on to say that the sense of sight is more powerful than all the other four senses combined. So it's something about being able to really see, to lay your eyes on it. It's so much so that it can cause you to move. I think that's one of the reasons perhaps that why this country is now moving in the right direction, because we were able to see. We were able to see with our own eyes, not what someone had to tell us, but we saw what happened to Mr. Floyd. And it really touched us. It touches us, the sense of sight. And so what I began to see when I was pulling away from drugs and cleaning up, I began to look back because I wanted to know what happened to me. Why did I end up where I was at? And where did my stressors come from? What is it about life? And when I began to search, I had to go back to the beginning. Perhaps that's a good place to start. And I went back and I began to look at my history, where I'm from, how I look. I have 2 legs, 2 feet. I have eyes, a nose, a mouth, and some teeth, and some hair still, just loose a little bit. But you understand, so I'm searching what happened. What is it about me that I've had to endure what I've had to endure through the years? And so in my book, From Crack to Clergy Provoking Thought, it deals with 3 stages of my life. Number 1, my early childhood development in Chattanooga, Tennessee, okay? I was born and raised during the Civil Rights Movement. It was in full force during that time. Number 2, deal with my drug usage, becoming addicted, starting out having fun. Something that I thought was fun ended up hurting me. So we need to know what we're playing with. We don't want to play with certain things, okay? Particularly if the thing in which we're playing with is dangerous and can be harmful to us. And then thirdly, recovery. The book is 3 stages: early childhood development, growing up in the South. Number 2, drug usage, becoming addicted. And then 3, the recovery. How was I able to turn it around? What caused me to turn it around, to move out of it, to free myself, to loose those chains that held me captive? How was I able to overcome the various fears? Because we know, if you don't know, I want you to know that fear is a bully, and a bully can paralyze you. Fear cuts off the strings of activity. And so we need to move. We need to move. And so therefore we need to do away with fear. And thanks be to God. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but that of a sound mind. Okay? Long-suffering, meekness, kindness, gentleness. So, as we get ready to go forth here, we're going to look at some things with a different angle. As I said before, I shared with you on previous occasions dealing with the biblical side of the house. But as I began to look and clean up doing the drug usage and pulling away from it, I'm still searching, looking at the origin, going back. And it caused me to look at me physically, okay? And I noticed I'm a black man. And I wonder if that has anything to do with anything, because everything else is 2 eyes, 2 nose, feet, and so forth and so on, clear speech. And thank God for that. By the way, many of you in the listening audience may not know this, but I used to stutter terribly as a child. I couldn't even get my name out. It would take me 5 minutes. And so hard work does pay off. And this is a miracle that I'm able to speak to you as I'm doing now. So you continue to pray for me in that area, and I pray for you. And so we're going to look at it today from the standpoint of blackness. Blackness. What is it about my blackness? I wanted to know, is there something special about my blackness? Is there some evil, some curse about my blackness? Or is it my blackness? Or perhaps it's something else? And so, in order for me to find these answers, it's important for me that I see through a new set of eyes, that I hear with a new set of ears. And the cleansing of becoming free from drug usage allowed me to hear again and to see again clearly. And as I said, Aristotle said that it's important that we look at things, and we look at things closely. It's very powerful. And also, perhaps this is why even the slaveholders would have on Sunday morning, sometimes have the people to dress up Sunday, get popcorn, soda pop, to meet downtown, town square, for a public lynching. Oh yes, they want you to see it. Yes. They have the slaves to look and see as they decapitate someone's joints or castrate someone. You know it. It does them no good to do these things if they're not going to have it to be public knowledge, to be known. They want you to know because it places fear in us. So we are looking at this thing, and I know it's painful. We don't want to talk, we don't want to deal with it, but we got to, we must. It's the problem now. We've not dealt with these issues. We've pushed them under the carpet. It's uncomfortable. I know it's uncomfortable. So what? We'll get over it. We move forward. We're moving forward because we want to get better. And in order for us to get better, we've got to go through some things that are uncomfortable. We got to deal with some stuff that we don't want to deal with, but we need to deal with it. And so thank you for listening, and thank you for being patient with me. At any rate, as I began to look back and asking these questions about, is there something wrong with my blackness? Is there something wrong with me? And in order for me to find the answers that I'm looking for about my blackness, I had to look back at the beginning. And that's a good place to start. And the following things that I'm going to share with you from my book, From Crack to Clergy, Provoking Thoughts, is what I found. As I began to search, as I began to look at my life in the past, the events, the circumstances, the childhood development, the things that were really there, I wanted to know, what is it about my blackness? You know, there seemed to be something about how I look, I guess. I don't know exactly what it is. And I asked the question, could it be my blackness? So what is it about my blackness? And this is what I found. Historically speaking, black people are not respected in America. They never have been. It appears that America has a problem with black folks becoming self-empowered and living a well-balanced life with economic, social, and political power. This has always been the case in America. I do believe that. The reason is not really clear. Why are blacks the chosen ones for placing all burdens of discomfort, disease, and disrespect? Now, I know black people are very strong. We know that. They got strong shoulders. But surely, blacks can carry a lot of weight. We know that. But this extra weight must cease to exist, for the people are tired and cannot continue to be treated as a social problem merely by the fact that they exist in society. A presence, a reality in the eyes of the tormentor. You know, Africans did not come to this country exactly by choice to work for free, to work for nothing. Many of them died as a result. Some committed suicide rather than to submit to the hard labor or to be taken from their families. What is it about the blackness? I'm just searching. I'm going back to the beginning. Bear with me. You know, they were raped, both physically and mentally, by their captors. Throughout the world, we find people of color. People of color are found everywhere because Africans were shipped throughout the world to perform free labor. Free labor. They built the world. They built the United States. Free. That's why there's so much wealth here in this country. And so many wealthy families. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. They never will spend all that money. And so people of color have built this country, and they've served the majority race, white, by hand and foot, including raising their children. That's right. Cleaning their homes, cooking their meals, and even serving the men, massa, many times in bed. You know, massa he needed some help too in that bedroom. And so all of these things were free, in control. Perhaps that's why it's difficult to give it up. And still the majority party classifies blacks and people of color as lazy, called lazy. Although when you look at it, the blacks and people of color have done all of their work. Blacks have even been called, and I'm thinking back and looking back now, and I know that we don't want to talk about this, but blacks have even been called animals in the past. But yet the master continues to sleep with them. He called them savages, animals. Well, something must have been good about them because he certainly had a good time sleeping with them, producing what's called mulattoes. Where do you think they came from? And then that wasn't all. As I look back, and in blacks, it was said that blacks had a problem of learning, that they were incapable of learning. They didn't have the competencies to learn, even though the majority party would put forth much effort and energy and money to make it difficult for them to learn. In fact, laws were made making it illegal for blacks to read or write, or even give the appearance that they were smart or they could read or write. That wasn't all. Now we're looking at the origin, going back to the beginning now. All of this has caused what we're experiencing today. The country was founded. This is the origin. This is what this country was founded upon. And so there were laws were making it illegal for blacks to read or write. And there was a failure to implement laws or policies to give funding to place good teachers in black schools, and they didn't have the necessary tools or equipment. It's separate but equal, they said. But it's certainly separate, yes, but not equal. Secondhand material was given for education, the black schools. Here's the proof that the image of blacks being below the white standard sustained a racist view. That is, the dialogue, the hype, the propaganda had to be such to maintain the racist view, that they were inferior, that they can't learn. So they had to continue to put out the lies, the deceitful language. A decision was made some years ago by the Supreme Court, separate but equal, but enforcement didn't last very long. Two very famous Plessy versus Ferguson, and Brown versus the Board of Education, and the Dred Scott decision. 1/5 of black blood, and that means you're black. That's right. You got 1/5 of black blood, but these are laws, Jim Crow laws. These are laws, okay? Policies that were written and put into place. And so all of these things, I'm looking back in the origin, how can this system not be racist when you have people with these views and these beliefs and this type of behavior and treatment and saw nothing wrong with it? And so I'm looking at this and I'm still asking the question, what is it about my blackness? What is it about my blackness? What is it about my blackness? The following poems may help us as we look at this. And these poems were written as I went through these facts, these factual events of the things that happened, occurred in this country, things, some of which I knew about in the history. And all of this stuff is not in history books. For some reason, they don't want us to know it. Okay? America was discovered by Christopher Columbus. I know they're getting off on another subject now, but the Indian was here. The Native Americans were not lost. And I don't know what happened to them. They all of a sudden they had to move and move. The Trail of Tears kept moving, and I'm not really sure why they had to move when they were at home. But the first thing here that I'm saying regarding the profound, simple question, what is it about my blackness? Still dealing with that. So why me? The first writing here is entitled, Why Me? It says, why me? I follow the rules are changed. When I say what I want, I'm told what I need. When I work as well as anyone else, I'm told how bad something else is. When I'm polite and humble toward my fellow man, then I'm treated with no respect. When I'm paid with a check, I cannot cash this check without giving my life history. Then finally, I decide to look in the mirror and I ask, who am I? I am a black man. Why me? And so the question is still being asked in my head, why me? What is it about my blackness? And so my blackness has seemed to cause a problem for me, and I don't know why. I merely exist. I'm here. I had no say about being here, about looking the way I do and having the color, the complexion that I have. I am who I am, but what is it? Why am I the problem? So the second writing then is asking a question, what is the problem? There must be some problem, and the problem has to be stemmed with my blackness. So what is it about my blackness, and what is the problem? So it says, what's the problem? I've given you what you ask. I've shown my faithfulness. I've kept the faith. I've answered all your questions. I've fulfilled all your requirements. My people have built your cities and towns. My people have served you all of their lives. My people have raised your children. My people have believed your words, even though they were never true. My people have tried to please you and to prove themselves to you, but you continue to bring shame, pain, fear, tears, and dishonor upon them. We are black people. What's the problem? There is a problem, but what is the problem? We still don't know what the problem is. And I'm seeking, what is it about my blackness? What is it about me that causes a problem? By merely existing, I'm here. We're here. And the last poem, could it be love? Could it be love that's causing me to receive this treatment as it relates to my blackness? Could the problem be that I don't understand the type of love that I'm getting from my brother that loves me? And so this is entitled, My Brother Loves Me. My brother loves me. We live under the sun in the same world and are family members. My brother kept me as his personal property. My brother keeps me in shape by working my back all day. My brother thinks of me and makes decisions for me that affect me without my consent. My brother loves me so. And I say that now because people love differently. We don't all love the same. Maybe it's some form of love. I don't know. But I'm still seeking an answer. What is it about me? What is it about my blackness? What is it about your blackness? What is it about your thoughts? Why do you think the way you do? Why do you feel the way? What does blackness mean to you? When you look at something black, a black person, what do you think immediately without even thinking about it? Subconsciously, what comes up? What comes to the surface? And I guarantee you, you find remnants of what's been built in this country and baked into it throughout the years because it's so paramount, it's so dominating, it's so powerful and baffling and subtle that it creeps into us. Think about that. And so lastly, as I'm ready to close this segment, and I thank you for your patience, and I hope that this is stimulating you and causing you to think more deeply about the issues that we're facing that are critical, that requires action from all of us to do what we can, where we can, when we can, for the betterment of the people, for the betterment of ourselves, the betterment of our community, the betterment of the world. And we can do this. We can do this. And so lastly, I want to close with, who are they? We know who Dr. King says we are, and I'll close with that. But this is a song that I've written. It started out as a poem, and I developed it into a song. But as I'm looking back, my eyes are open, my ears are open, I'm able to see clearly, and I want to know what the problem is. What's going on with my blackness? What's the problem? Am I the problem? Could it be a form of love or not? And so, who are they? Who are these people? The blackness, the people, these black folks. Who are they? What are they? Where do they come from? Why are they a problem by merely existing? This is entitled, Who Are They? Who are they? Who are they? Who are they? Their life is hard. Their life is rough. Their life is unjust, but yet they dance, yet they dance. Who are they? Life brings them many pains. Life gives them half a chance. Life has again shown its ugliness. But yet they love life, yet they love life. Who are they? Life has them in chains. Life has no change. Life has again shown its face. But yet they still love life. Yet they still love life. Who are they? Life views them badly. Life views them darkly. Life views them sadly. But yet they shine brightly. Yet they shine brightly. Who are they? Life fed them what was left. Life sent them to the back. Life kept them down. But yet they are strong. Yet they are strong. Who are they? Life has them here. Life wants them here. Life needs them here. But yet they don't know. I said, yet they don't know who they oh. Who are they? Who are they? And finally, Dr. King has wrote many years ago, he tried to define and say who they are. King believed that truth crushed to the ground would soon rise again. And he wrote, who are we? Who are we? He asked this question. And he said, we are the descendants of slaves. We are the heirs of a past of rope, of fire and murder. I, for one, am not ashamed of this past, he says. My shame is for those who became so unhuman that they could inflict this torture upon us. And so, my friend, white, black, Asian, Japanese, Chinese, we're all family of the human race. Let us look at the truth. Let us look at the past. Let's go back to the origin. Let's find out what we're eating every day, what we're breathing every day, what was put in the air, what was put in the cake, how was the cake made, what are the ingredients that made the cake that are in the food that we're eating, the fabrics of this society, what was put in it, the laws, the policy, the Constitution, who wrote it, why did they write it, who benefits from it. We've got to deal with those issues. And I think we're ready to deal with those issues. We are dealing with those issues. And at the death of Mr. Floyd, he's given birth to so many things. He's given me a new life that I'm speaking. And hopefully it's not falling on deaf ears. We need to hear this. We need to do this. We need to have these types of conversations. We need to think about what truly exists. What's really there? What are we dealing with? How can we correct it? And we need to have these discussions, but more importantly, we need to act on them in a responsible way that's going to bring about some positive results. And I hope that this channel, I Want to Breathe Station, is going to be one small avenue, a trigger of motivation that's going to keep us going. I thank you for your time of listening. I thank you for sharing with others to come on board, sign up, follow this, and please leave a comment. Until next time, be good to yourself. Love you. Remember, we all want to breathe. Let's breathe together.